Biplane Duel and Alianator. It's public domination on Amigos, episode 313. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Amigos. I'm John.
And I'm Aaron.
And today, Aaron, we're going to be talking about two games, Biplane Duel and Alianator, because, of course, it's public domain week here again on Amigos.
Oh, man. These never go bad on us either. They're always gold.
But before we get into the games this week, Aaron, you and I both received a package in the mail this week, didn't we?
We sure did. I haven't even looked at mine yet. Have you?
I have. I've already opened it.
I'm going to open mine
I know
right now.
what mine is, but what it was in yours, Aaron, because I'm not sure if we got the same thing or if we got something different.
Here we go. This came all the way from jolly old England. Oh, yes. Bam. Look at that boat.
Oh, my gosh.
Isn't that
You got the same thing that I did. An Amiga Addict mug. Look at this on the back. I'd rather be playing my Amiga.
I love it. I love it, boat.
This comes to us, of course, from the one and only Amiga Addict headquarters, a.k.a. from Mr. Simulant himself, Jonah. And we really appreciate it. You know, Aaron,
Yeah.
it's somewhat fortuitous that we received these mugs this week because unbeknownst to anyone at the time when these mugs were sent out, or maybe it was beknownst to Jonah, maybe he felt it in the water, we have just established a new relationship with Amiga Addict. They have decided to become a sponsor of the Amigos podcast.
Yes.
So we figured what we do is we just sort of talk a little bit about the latest issue of Amiga Addict, and I believe that this is issue number 7. I believe this is issue number 7. It might be 6, but I'm pretty sure it's 7. And of course, what do we have on the front here? The thing that you stole blatantly for your Amigo Aaron disaster streams, the old Psygnosis Owl, Aaron.
I would say artistically borrowed. I think that's legal. It looks awesome, though. Hey, listen, they got an awesome mascot. What do you want? Yeah. So this is 60 pages of pure Amiga glory in both digital and hard copy editions. It even comes with a cover disc, sort of. It's a virtual cover disc. You can make your own ADF, slap a label on there, and boom, there you go. Now, Aaron, this week we're going to be talking about a story that appears about the Amiga and its relationship with comics. Unbeknownst to me, Aaron, I didn't realize that the comic industry did so much to help sell Amiga games. Now, Aaron, you're a big comics guy back in the day. Do you remember seeing a lot of comic book advertisements for video games? You know, it's funny, Boatster. If you think about when the Amiga ads would have came out in magazines, you're talking the late 80s and early 90s. That's when you would have gotten the bulk of your magazine ads. And I didn't begin collecting comic books until 1993-ish. So I was pretty much, I don't think I ever saw a single ad for an Amiga in any of them from that point forward. And the bulk of my collection comes from the early 70s. So, which obviously wouldn't be in there. So, no, I had no idea until you pointed this out to me. I had no clue that had happened. Kind of neat.
Yeah. And as we scroll down to the next page of this article, you can see that the Amiga actually, one of the things that I love about old magazines, old comic book ads and stuff is just how much bespoke art there was. There were artists on staff that were creating stuff nonstop. And being able to commission your own little comic book, one-page ad / comic to produce, to advertise your game, that's pretty darn cool.
Yeah,
that's pretty darn cool. So anyway, if you want to read this excellent article, plus 58 other pages of Amiga awesomeness, make sure you head over to amiga-addict.com. You can subscribe for a year. You can buy a single issue. You can get these in PDF format. But, I mean, let's be honest. You want to page through this thing. This thing is high-quality paper. The production job is just outstanding. Of course, several of our friends through the Amigos Discord are on staff, including the one and only Pixels at Dawn, Amigos Game Selection Committee Chairman. So, Amiga Addict, it is a high-quality publication.
Yes, it is. And having leafed through a couple of the physical copies of these myself, it is a delight to have a new magazine that you can grab. I'll take mine and take it to work and flip through it, or when I'm just getting ready to hit the sack. It's a great read, and it's a glorious time we live in when you can have a glossy, full-length, full-featured magazine dedicated to your favorite computer. Very nice.
Yes. So we do thank Amiga Addict for sponsoring this week's episode of Amigos. And Aaron, let's take a deep dive now into this week's Amiga news.
Amiga news.
All right, Aaron, let's kick things off this week with a update on one of the consoles, the new retro consoles that was all the rage there for a while and has kind of gone dark as of late, the Intellivision Amico. Now, Aaron, what do you know about the old Intellivision Amico?
Well, I know a little bit. A fellow named Tommy at Tallarico is behind this thing. And what it is a reimagining, or let's say what it is. They're taking the Intellivision brand, they're putting on something new, and then they're bringing forward a lot of the Intellivision properties in exciting new ways, reimagined ways. In some ways, this thing, what they've got here basically is two unique controllers, what the Intellivision used to have, except these are more like almost like phones. And you can actually use your phone as a remote for this thing as well. It's been delayed. I think this is the third or fourth delay. I believe it was supposed to come out at the beginning of this year, and they're right now they're saying it will either be the end of this year or later on this year. The reason this particular video come out, I recommend this guy, Mad Little Pixel. I like his stuff. He does a lot of stuff involving like console reviews, mods. He did a lot of stuff with like coin ops and front ends for Raspberry Pi. He's that kind of guy. He's a real laid back dude. But anyway, he brought something up here that I about fell over when I saw it. And it's the first place I saw it, and I really haven't looked anywhere else. But he pulled up some documentation here that the Amico was just delayed. Mm-hmm. And the funny thing is, someone has contested the Amico's name. Okay, guess who? It's
could
Cloanto.
It be? I was going to say, could it be Cloanto?
It's Cloanto, which is funny because we just came from talking about Amiga Addict, where there was also some trouble over the name. Well, we're back again, and Amico has been their name has been contested by Cloanto because they think there may be some confusion in the marketplace between a game machine called the Amico and the computer called the Amiga. So is this behind the delay? I don't know. I can't say. But
we've heard some feedback on the Discord, and it appears that, all right, I think I might have read some comments on this video too, and on the This Week in Retro subreddit. It appears that the Amico, this is not the only problem the old Amico has had. It's run into lots of stumbling blocks along the way, and so this may be part of the reason, but maybe not the entire reason we are not all playing. I think its big draw was the old couch co-op thing.
That's correct. This console's a funny one, Bode. Just to jump out of the Amiga side of it for a while. And although again, it's funny how our two worlds intersect here, but the Amico, Tallarico's got a real good name in the video game world. He did the music for a lot of big games. That's where he got his name. He was a co-host on a really good gaming review show that was an old G4. Those video game music concerts that, in fact, I went to one that he was the star of it in Charleston. He's behind all of those, the video game music concerts, the live music. That was his baby, and he performs up there. He's a really good musician. And so I really think he's got, I think when he started this project out, he had the best intentions. But as we both know, to tackle something like this is no easy task. And he's been put through the ringer. and sort of the people behind the Amiga. There's been some times where they don't put out much news. I wouldn't say this is on the same level as Atari's last console, but I mean it's in that neighborhood now. And people are starting to wonder, and some people are very passionate about this machine, and some people passionately think it's garbage.
Right.
And if you see any of the games for it, they do sort of look like revamped, sort of highly polished Flash games or something.
Yeah. This is, I mean, I can't help but just recall the halcyon days, the old Ouya, and how it was going to,
it's very similar to that boat, including the fact that you have to have a working demo that people can play for free, which that was one of the Ouya's big things. And they're going to have an online store. You're not the first person to make that comparison. We'll see what happens. I mean, I think I love couch co-op. I think it's great. I would love to see this thing do well. And I'm a big fan of the older television. I know you like it too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got some awesome games. The idea for the controller on this is interesting. I really hope that this thing with Cloanto doesn't cause any more trouble to them than it needs to, and hopefully they can come to some sort of arrangement. Because I mean, what do you think? Do you think they got a case Cloanto does in this case?
I think this is another case, much like what the Amiga Addict had to deal with, where you have all of these people that own all of these trademarks that are afraid that if they don't defend their trademark, they're going to somehow lose it. So they issue these not injunctions. That's not the correct legal term, but they give these contestants out, just saying, listen, we want to make sure that there's no conflict here. So I wouldn't expect this to really stand in the way of the this is something obviously they've got to deal with, but yeah, I don't think that the Amico people have anything to worry about from Cloanto.
On one side note, I was watching TV late at night to the night on one of these internet TV channels I get. And they play the same ads like a million times. But there was an ad for it was either an insurance place or a bank, and it was called Amica. So there's another one. So every form of a word you can make out of that has been used by somebody.
Right. And let's not forget that Amiga is a proper noun.
Yes.
So
that's something else I wondered about too. But hey, we'll see what happens. But there you go. I thought it was interesting.
All right, let's move on, shall we? Now, this next one, Aaron, it's another episode from our buddy, the 10-minute Amiga Retrocast.
Yes.
And it's another video all about the Amiga 1000. This is an RGB to HDMI review for the Amiga 1000. Aaron, I know that you're a big mark for these Doug hardware videos. I'm sure you watch this. Tell me all about it, man.
Listen, Doug is one amongst the king dongs of Amiga hardware, so you got to give the dong his due here. And what he's done here is it's the old Raspberry Pi Zero HDMI out gimmick for the Amiga 1000 this time. And if you notice there, he had he did the old bit where you have to kind of relocate the processor.
Oh my gosh, what is that thing hanging out of the side there?
Oh, that's his little expansion thing.
That thing looks like an abomination.
No, it's real. Oh, it's great. It's real good. But I mean, listen, you know how it is. If you're going to expand these things, you sort of have to. There has to be a little sidecar on it.
Yeah. I've got a little sidecar on the side of mine. It doesn't look like that.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot. I like the fact that he's got little printed legs for it.
It looks like a freaking pizza table.
If I'm not mistaken, Boatster, in a previous video, I think that's I think that was a thing that was made for an accelerator for the Amiga 500 that he turned around each time. But don't hold me to that.
Okay.
But this is good. This puts out some real nice quality video. Again, this is a good cheap gimmick with the old Pi.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm always glad to see new stuff coming out for the 1000.
Yeah, and I want to mention. I know you are because you've got one.
Yeah.
We may need to do this both ours.
Yeah, absolutely.
Doug actually released a second video this week.
Really?
Very rare.
Cool.
It just came out last night, and it came out at like midnight. I just had to be awake. And on this one, it's an unboxing of an Amiga 600 that Sanction from our own Pixel Gaiden sent them. They had they made a money deal, boat, and it got the Amiga 600. Now this is Doug's first Amiga 600, which I thought that was interesting. So he unboxes it and takes it apart.
Oh, so it was boxed and everything.
Well, it was in a box. How about that? Let's not get crazy here. But anyway, double Doug action this week. If you are feeling froggy, hop over and check Doug out. You know it's always going to be some good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Aaron. Next on the docket, remember Amigathon, Aaron? It seems like so long ago
Oh
now,
man, do I
but it was
remember?
really
Boy.
only a month ago. It was less than a month ago.
Yeah.
During Bill's segment, he played the newly released indie-developed Amiga shooter, Enviaya.
Yes. Well said.
And guess what? There is a new level available. So I know that this is a pretty popular game with the Amiga community. So I thought we'd talk about it.
Yeah. It looks great.
If you have Enviaya, you can download this new ADF level available. It works with both PAL or NTSC. I mean the game, and you can. And I guess the CD32 update is coming soon.
Ooh.
So have you tried your hand at NVIA yet, Aaron?
I have not. I did watch. Of course, we both watched Amiga Bill take this thing to school, and it looks good. Hey, listen, we've been critical of some of these things in the past, but the quality of the indie stuff, I think, has really taken a sharp shot upwards.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I know what a fan you are of shooters, Aaron. So you better get your yayas out.
Listen,
and put this thing on the road.
My yayas are put in a box and haven't been used for a while, but I'll try to break them out. But this does look good, and this I assume at some point they're going to join all these levels together and they're going to get this thing taken care of. So I'll probably
you're going to have the ultimate mega deluxe edition that comes out.
I'll probably just wait until they take it to the house. But yeah, it looks good, and it was real fun to watch Bill go to work on that. It's a real nice looking game.
All right, Aaron. Next up, this is just a little. Speaking of Amigathon, I thought I'd throw this in here, and we just got another donation today.
Oh,
Amigathon donations are still open. So if you had a good time at the event and funds were a little bit tight, feel free to head on over to Amigathon.com. And you can still make a donation. We are up to $7,336. Any donation, no matter large or small, is most welcome. And this will be up all the way until November. So, thank you to our newest donor today. And I'm just going to call him out, Labyrinth.
Yeah,
I think it's actually it's a maze somewhere. The maze has decided that it was time to donate $10 to Amigathon.
Listen,
so thank you very much.
We want to thank all these guys that have donated here in the past couple of weeks. Labyrinth, Mark T, Mr. Dave 6309. We appreciate all you guys kicking in. Robert Reyes, who even wrote a little comment. Sorry I missed the stream. I was out of town and driving home at the time. That's okay, brother. That's awesome. And we appreciate it. And listen, the kids appreciate it, man. This was it makes me feel good just to be a part of something like this, you know?
Absolutely.
And I hope that money really does a load of good. And I really am really thankful that we have so many thoughtful and loving friends that kicked in on this. We appreciate it.
All right. And finally, we have one somber bit of news, Aaron. A melancholy happy trails to one Paul Vandervalk. Now, Aaron, are you familiar with Mr. Vandervalk?
I'm not sure. I know.
Well,
I knew he had
He
passed.
is a composer of some renown, and I guarantee you, if you skip forward to 12 minutes and 45 seconds into the video, you will recognize his work.
Oh, I just saw Hybris is in here.
Yeah. So Paul Vandervalk, composer of Hybris, he is passed away, unfortunately, this week. And we just want to give our deepest condolences to his family, his loved ones, and we really appreciate all the work that he's done. I guess he's done some mod type things. He did something called Imploder 3, Imploder 4.
Oh yeah.
And maybe he wrote the music for that, I'm guessing. And of course he wrote the music for the Immortal Hybris.
Yeah.
So.
I thought you hated that game, Boat. You always rag
on
it.
I've always loved Hybris.
You kill that game, and it's great. And I will say I tip my hat to Mr. Vandervalk, because that the work he did. Listen, we got to pay homage to the artists that came up on the Amiga, and this guy. I mean, I will say, just from the few things I've heard, it was gold, solid gold. So I hope he rests in peace, and I hope my condolences go out to his family over his loss.
Yes. And finally, Aaron, let's wrap things up with what's new over at RetroRewind.ca. Now, Aaron, this bad boy is a resistor tool. You ever use a resistor tool, Aaron?
I'm assuming this is to bend the legs on these things. Yeah, boy, this is clever. No, that's a good idea. Because it's almost always impossible to get it right.
Have you ever bent a resistor before?
God. Yeah, millions of times. Yeah, and poorly, I might add.
Well, I've never bent a resistor, but if I was going to, you can be darn sure that I'd pay $6 for this resistor tool, because that seems like a tool that would pay for itself pretty quickly in terms of the amount of stress that it'll save you, making sure that you've bent it just right to make sure it fits.
Do you know how this thing works? I know. Do you know how? Since you've never done it?
No, I have no clue. For all I know, you sit it on the table and the resistors climb onto it.
No, boat. Resistors, these are pin-through hole resistors, old school resistors. They've got two little wires that come off a little can.
These are the things that are different colors. They've got different color bands.
Yeah, they've got stripes and everything. And so different resistors have different sizes, and so you use this you put the resistor down, use this thing to gauge the distance between two holes, and then when you pick the little area that's closest to what you're going to be doing, you bend it over them, and that way they'll just fit right in. You don't have to guess and go in there and botch it. It's funny because I never thought about doing that. It's a darn good idea. Don't.
Well, that's fantastic. Yeah, I never knew that something like this could even exist. So, check that out. And of course, Retro Rewind, home for all of your Amiga Commodore needs. If you need a flash cart, the Kung Fu Flash, if you need your CD32 recapped, anything in between, you can pick up over at RetroRewind.ca. And of course, don't forget, whatever you buy over there, make sure you add the promo code Amigos10 at checkout and save 10% off your order.
Yeah.
We do appreciate Retro Rewind and thank them for sponsoring this week's episode of Amigos.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot.
All right, Aaron, you ready to get into public domania?
Oh, man. Can you give me a minute to answer that? But yeah, I guess I am. What the heck? Let's do it, Bode.
Let's do it, man.
Bam. It's public domania again,
oh, yeah.
Bode, where we take a look at a couple choice offerings from the land of Amiga public domain. We got a couple. Listen. We got a couple here that I think people could get into, if I may say. Bode, we're gonna start the show here with a little game that me and Boat played. Boy, I guess this would have been Amigathon. What do you think? 2017, 2018?
Well, I think that we've played it multiple years. I think the first year we played it, and we could barely get it to run because that was the year we were trying to use the actual Amiga 500, and that was an unmitigated disaster.
By the way, this is actually footage of us playing the game on that.
Oh, wonderful!
On that Amigathon, you'd be surprised how little footage there is of this game. So I actually went just got like, I'll use ours. So, Biplane Duel was the game we're discussing here. Released in '89. Of course, it's freeware. This on one disc. This has 2 players, and you have no choice. And we'll get to something that gives you a choice here in a moment. But this one, you've got 2. You go and play 2 people. This was coded up by a fellow named Peter Mason. I looked, and as far as I could tell, he never did nothing else. This is. But I mean, hey, if you're gonna go out. This is the one. This is supposedly based on a Mattel and Television portion of a game. It's funny, but I've never heard of this game for the Intellivision, and I have it in Intellivision. It's called Triple Action. Sound familiar?
Yes.
And Triple Action is, to me, it looks sort of like Intellivision's answer to Combat on the Atari 2600. And there's a section in it that's where you fly biplanes, and it is very similar to this. It looks crappier.
Yeah.
And there you go. This game was first released on an Amiga format cover disc. It was cover disc number 18 in the January 1991 edition. So I guess this thing I assume he released this into the public domain for a while, and then ultimately it got put on a cover disc. So what do you do in this game? Well, you and your partner have planes. You're basically on a long, straight stretch, and right in the middle of it is sort of like a hut. Your job is to take off, and then your job is to shoot at your buddy or shoot a balloon that will pop up, and also to not die. That's pretty much your job. It sounds easy, right? Taking off in this game, this reminds me of someone like watched the takeoff segments of like Rocket Ranger, and it was like, nah, that's not nearly hard enough. Let's make it brutally hard. This is a game where you have to learn to take off, isn't it, Bode?
Mm-hmm. It is. This is a game that you can press button combinations that will just cause you to explode on impact, or explode
you can literally
right away.
The first thing you do is just blow up.
Which, I mean, it's not unlike Blue Max in that regard, because if you pull back on the stick before it's time, you'll do the same thing.
Yes, absolutely.
This game is interesting because I don't know if there's a game that is meant for quote unquote casual play that has this sort of degree of difficulty just to get into actually playing the game. Because ostensibly, the object of the game is to shoot your buddy down, okay? You're going to spend a lot of time before you get to the point where you can shoot your buddy down, because you're going to spend a lot of time just trying to get airborne long enough that you can sustain time in the air before you can even worry about the other player.
I wonder if driving a real plane and getting off the ground is as hard as this. I've often wondered that. I mean,
I don't know.
The funny thing is, the concept behind this game, when you think about it, is ludicrous. You're on a one-screen field, and the only thing separating you from your enemy is just this hut, this indestructible hut of death. And so you're trying to fly all the way up in the air, fly all the way down, and shoot your enemy when you could literally just kind of walk over there with a gun, I guess, and just take him down.
I picture it like playing in a snow globe, because when you leave one side of the screen, you come back on the other side.
Yeah, so it's very much like, it reminds me a lot of like the biplane section of Combat, except with gravity. Unforgiving, hateful, satanic gravity. This game features a background of some snow-capped peaks and some clouds. The clouds, actually, you can fly behind, which that's sort of an added element to the game. And the game keeps score on how many times you've shot your opponent. I think you also get a point for shooting a balloon, as I recall. Having shot it a few times there, I think I remember getting a point for it. Like I said, the hut's indestructible, but I mean, that's the game. I mean, we're not leaving anything out here. That is the game. What do
you think about the decision to make the hut look like a medieval peasant dwelling?
Dumb decision. I would not call the hut or the snow-capped peaks, I wouldn't call them high art. If you want the truth, are they better than I can do? Yes. But I mean, I wouldn't call them, and they don't really play a role in the game except to provide a barrier with the hut. But I mean, they don't look great. The game,
I will say it is a nice feature that the snow-capped mountains do not kill you.
Yeah.
Especially coming off James Bond Jr. the other week, where the trees and everything else kills you as you're driving along there. So.
I did enjoy this more than James Bond Jr. I will say that. Now, it's funny. We played a game after we played this called Dogfight. Do you remember this? It was sort of like this, but better in pretty much every way, I think. But I will say,
there's the old Xbox. So this was the first year of Amigathon. Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, this is the lowest end game I think you could possibly have. Almost. That's still sort of fun. I mean, I'm not going to bury this game because we had a ball, and part of it is the difficulty level is so ridiculous that when you go up and do something stupid, your opponent's got plenty of time to laugh at you and point. The room full of people can laugh. It's just sort of fun.
Well, it reminds me somewhat of a lunar lander type experience because gravity plays such a big part in this game. I mean, I would call the gravity in this game pretty realistic. And that, you know, if you don't hit the right angle and start taking off and hit the speed just right, you're just going to fall to the ground, which is what would happen in a real plane. So
now, we mentioned, Boat, that this game is for straight up two players. Okay, now I don't know if you knew this. I'm sure you know it now after playing this game for a week. But this game had a sort of an update. All right, if you know what I'm talking about. I don't know if you tried this, Bo, but I tried it. And the update is called Salmon Pink Max. Did you play this?
No.
Okay. First of all, the name is hilarious. You're not Blue Max, you're Salmon Pink Max. All right? It's the exact same game. Okay? In fact, I don't know. I know it was. I know it came out in 90. I don't know much of anything else about it. Okay, and it's actually available on my collection, and I read about it on Lemon, so that's how I found out about it. But picture it, it's exactly the same game with one exception, and the one exception is you can play against the computer opponent, which is better. It's better than just going up in the air yourself. Now, do you still humiliate yourself over and over and over? Yes, you do. So nothing has changed, but in the computer you can pick a difficulty level. I played it on hard, and the computer wiped the floor with me because while you're struggling to take off, the computer pops right up in the air and just starts mauling you. So when I say this is a 1 to 2 player experience, if you are a sadist or just like to get killed a lot, you can play. You can play it, but otherwise, you might as well just play the old version where you at least can get off the ground and screw around a little bit while your opponent just sits there because there's no one playing him.
Yeah. Now, I will say that we're getting thoroughly trounced in the chat right now for the lack of our ability at this game. But I will tell you that this game is much fun, or as little fun you will have with this game depends on how you and your opponents are matched at skill level. Because if you've got somebody that knows what they're doing even a little bit in this game, you don't have a prayer if you're just starting out. The best way to play this game is if you and your buddy are equally skilled or not skilled. Yeah. And so it's much different than a game like Combat in that regard, because Combat, you can still get in there and have some fun. If you are a total noob and the other person's been playing Combat for a while, this game is not that way at all.
I'm going to say something else to our defense, Boat. Okay. I believe we were playing this on an Xbox, and I believe we'd played like 16 hours of games up to this point or something.
That's also true.
And we had never played or heard of this in our whole lives. We had no idea what was going on. And so you can't hear anything on this video, but all you can hear is just us laughing hysterically because we're out of our minds. So that probably affected our game, because I played this week.
But that said, we
trouble.
laughed hysterically and had more fun with this game than we did mini games that we played on Amigathon. Yeah. So I'm going to give this game probably one of the games of the show because of that.
I don't blame you on that one. Believe it or not, Boat, I did. There is a review of this game. There's 2 reviews actually. The people at Lemon, listen, it's simple, it's dopey. It's barely a game. It's not that attractive, right? But by God, the people at Lemon still give this thing a 7.95 because it is what it is. It's a party game where you sit on the couch and you look at each other and you laugh and point at the stupidity of each other. Mm-hmm. Amiga Power actually rated this 4 out of 5. I was surprised. I couldn't believe that since it was on an Amiga format cover disc. But I would say it's got high marks, Boat. There you go. It's funny, the sequel, Salmon Pink Max, the Lemon people only give it a 7. So I don't know why they don't like it that much. Can't imagine why. It gives you everything plus it gives you 1 or 2 player, but there you go. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
Did we get any Discords on this, Boat?
We did. We got a couple reviews. The first one, we start out with Negsol, and he says, I clearly remember when I did play this game for the first time. Even as a kid living in Germany, I found the UK cover discs to be worth the importing price. It was November 1992 when my beloved The One magazine carried a cover disc including demo versions of Chaos Engine and Lionheart. Amazing.
Yeah.
Additionally, some PD games were included to fill the discs. One of them was called Biplanes. Starting, it showed a now rebranded game called Salmon Pink Max Ozone Friendly version. My English was not yet up to the challenge, so I did not catch the Blue Max reference. Also, it took me a while to understand how to start the game, and then also how to take off with the plane. But once I understood, it became one of my favorite little games on the Amiga to play with friends. Of course, the second player is a must for a fun game. I love the simple but somewhat realistic game physics. Back then, I learned intuitively how to recover from an engine stall. I like to try my new skill by testing out how close to the ground I could recover from the plane. Great stuff. The AI of the computer opponent can be a bit unfair, but is a great training buddy. I like the simple graphics and the cute planes. Sound effects was decent, but the engine sound was getting annoying quickly. 6 out of 10. Duncan Stiles writes, a very simple game that gave me and my Amiga using PAL hours of dumb fun. Was this an Amos game? It doesn't matter. It's awesome and you need to play it. 9 out of 10 because it could be prettier, but it doesn't need to be. And finally, Pajako6502. He says, I could not get on with this game. I remember having this on a PD disc with my Amiga 500 and having some fun in 2-player mode with friends. But against the computer, and even with the AI difficulty on, so was an exercise in punishment. Not only do you need to contend with the plane stalling constantly because you pulled up too fast, but the computer seems to hone in on you the second you're in the air and beat you like you owe it money. This game doesn't really give you much chance to learn how to play it, and so this is a big thumbs down for me. 3 out of 10.
This is a game that's like a bad joke, right? It's not funny unless you heard it from the right person. I think that's. I mean, we were in the right situation. I mean, it is nothing. It's a nothing happening game, but it's fun. And part of the fun is because it's so incredibly difficult and stupid. That's what makes it fun. And we have a soft spot in our heart for this one, don't we? But in all honesty,
yeah, I do. Even though I'm not much good at this game, I do have a soft spot. It's. I don't know if I would go so far to call it a guilty pleasure, but it's definitely a game that's a lot of fun to play with two people.
Absolutely. So there you go. That was Biplane Duel, and again, I suggest you try the Salmon Pink Max, which was the sequel. That's probably the way to go, so you can get 1 or 2 player. A good time, but not too good. Let's go with that. So, next on the docket here, Boatster, we've got a game that I doubt you had played, but believe it or not, I had actually played this game.
Really?
Yeah. Alianator, I believe is the exact way to pronounce this thing.
Yeah.
Boatster. You can your mileage may vary on that.
It's one of those weird misspelled games like Hangar 18. Not uncommon in the public domain realm. So I'm going to go with Alianator.
So Alianator, a game that was released in '91 and came on 1 disc. This was put out by we know the guy that did the music on it is a guy named DJ Brain Crack. Great name.
Of course it was.
He was a demo guy.
I bet he was from the UK.
And this was distributed on a magazine as well. I believe it was Amiga Fun was the name of the magazine. I believe it's German.
Oh, maybe DJ Braincrack not from the UK.
Yeah, here it is. Amiga Fun, 12 of 91. So it was the December issue of 91 when this was released. Now, this is a whole different kettle of fish than what we just played here. This game is a isometric. It's a 3D. What would you describe? It's sort of like your Elite type graphics on here.
This is a polygonal 3D shooter.
Beautiful. You're so good at categorizing this stuff, Boat. So, what do you do in this game? You are the defender of basically this picture a piece of land with like a 8-pointed star on it. Okay, on that land are 8 inhabitants. Okay, you've got to defend them in your Viper 242 spaceship. Okay, the bad guys in this are attempting to come down and capture your inhabitants. Okay, and your goal is to stop them. All right, and if they do capture the inhabitants, bad stuff goes down, which we'll get to. All right, now. This is a game that has sort of I would describe it as an Elite style gameplay in terms of the way it looks. It's been described, and I think this is fairly accurate, as a 3D defender. That term gets thrown around a lot, both the old defender comparisons, but this truly is, in a lot of ways, this truly is probably a fully realized 3D defender. I mean, but simplified because Defender's so ridiculously complicated. The bottom of your screen in this will show you a radar screen, a very good radar screen. It also shows you the ship facing that you have, and it shows you the pitch and you're out, whether you're going up, gaining altitude, or losing altitude. Okay, it shows you physical pictures in real time of your ship. It also has a gauge for your speed, your altitude, and your shield levels, and then it also tells you your score and how many men you got left, stuff like that, how many of your people you have saved or have left to save. The game has what I would consider a genius control scheme, Boat, and I want to get your thoughts on that here in a second. In this game, of course, hitting the button fires, But if you sort of hold the button and push the joystick throttle, you actually can increase or decrease your speed on the fly. And so you're able to do all this stuff without having to use any more buttons. It does take some getting used to, but it works real well. And it gives you the ability to stop and start on a dime.
Right.
The map and the radar at first seems sketchy because one thing the radar doesn't do, it doesn't show what the position you're facing on the radar itself. What you'll learn to do is look at the little picture of your screen of the ship on the right that shows where it's facing, and that's the direction it's facing. There is the direction you're facing on the map. And as an added way to navigate, when you shoot, your shots are actually appear on the radar. And so you can tell by the way you're shooting which direction you're going for an even quicker way to find out which way you're going. So early on, you boot this thing up. We've played a lot of these sort of wacky kind of games. What'd you think of this to start off?
Listen, man, let's get right down to it.
All right.
This could have been a commercially released game.
Yes, I knew you would like it. I knew it.
This game opens up in a demo mode, an explanatory mode, where they give you fully 3D renders of every object in the game.
Yeah.
They explain what each object does, what its characteristics are, as it's flying around and doing cool stuff. Okay. I was impressed by that right off the bat before I even entered the game. Okay. Once you start the game, something I know I had, of course, it was difficult at the beginning to get accustomed to controls, but once I figured it out, it became genius, like you said, because it's a one-button control scheme. You know, it's a button on the mouse. And the thing that is the saving grace of this game in terms of 3D, because it's so easy to do 3D wrong, is the combination of the radar and the 3 pictures of your ship that are next to the radar.
Yes.
Because the top picture of the ship is a top-down view of your ship that shows you what direction your ship is pointing. The middle view shows you how you are aligned with the horizon, okay, from a side view. And then the bottom view shows you how you are lined up again in a different way, okay? So between that and the radar, you are always 100% sure of where you are in space. And when you're playing a space shooter where there's nothing on the ground to kind of align yourself with, because normally in a flight sim, you'll be flying along and you can follow roads and buildings and things and get an idea of where you are relative to the ground. But in a game like this, it is not the case. This is very much like a game like Battlezone with even fewer amounts of ground terrain.
Yeah.
So this game really, really impressed me with everything around the game. Now, the actual gameplay itself is Defender. If you know how to play Defender, you know how to play this game. You've got bad guys that are looking to pick up your good guys and carry them away. If they carry them away, they turn into ultra mega bad guys that kill you.
Skull ships.
They look like skulls.
It reminds me, it's like they almost turn into something that resembles Sinistar. You know, I mean, except a 3D version. If the people get carried away up to the ship, they come back as this. And the first time I saw one of these, I about jumped out of the chair because they come right at you and they make this noise, and all they want to do is just run you over. And so
and HSEI Ken, I couldn't think of the words, but he's absolutely correct. You've got pitch, roll, and yaw.
Yeah,
those are the three views there. So now I'll tell you something else that's very Defender-like, and that is the explosions.
Yeah.
When you blow one of these bad boys up, they explode in a confetti of colors. And it's very Williams-like.
Yeah,
I thought that was very impressive. I like the way that your objectives are always spelled out on the screen. You know how many people are left, how many enemies are left that you need to destroy, and you can actually clear the first level without too much trouble. And so to me, that's always the mark of a great game. If you can actually complete the first level without pulling your hair out, because the first level is there to show you how to play the game. You know, and this game does that. Now, would I make some change in this game? Probably. It would be nice to have more stuff on the ground. You know, Defender was sort of famous for these people are being picked up out of cities, And I understand that you're not going to want to build, a full scale city on the ground, but just having sort of an abstract 8-pointed star shape on the ground is that I thought that aspect of the game was disappointing. Now, that said, this game runs at an extremely high frame rate and it moves very fast. So from a performance perspective, you can't ask for anything better. I don't know. Curtis was asking what level of Amiga. I always emulate on the A1200. I don't know if this runs as well on the A500, but if it does, then it's a shining example of what could be done with the Amiga in terms of 3D.
Yeah, let me tell you something. This game, it's funny having played like a game like Wing Commander on the Amiga 600. You remember my video on that?
Oh yeah.
This game is one of the all-time smoothest games of this type I've ever seen on the Amiga. And the stuff that's up there, it's not just some kind of random Psygnosis mystery enemies. These are different types of ships, and they do different stuff. Some ships look like almost like darts. Some ships drop other ships. You know, these are different sorts of ships that come around, and when you watch them, if you get behind them and watch them, they fly around like ships would. You can match speed with them. You could go right past them. You can slow to a stop and watch them go by. They look awesome and smooth. I agree with exactly what you said about the ground. It would have been nice to have had some sort of stuff on the ground, just if for anything, just to give you something to go by visually on the ground, because you really do you have to use that radar. There are no visual cues on the ground that are going to help you. It would have been nice, but I would assume that to get this at the speed they did, that was a sacrifice they had to make. And I think it was a sacrifice worth making when you've got this sort of radar. If they didn't have it, the game would have been screwed. Like, this is the perfect amalgamation of like minimalistic ground stuff with like every tool you need to know what's happening, and that's what makes it work. The game does start off, I wouldn't call it easy, but what it does is it lets you figure out what you're doing. You know, hey, what a novel
It doesn't
concept.
immediately kill you. It's different than Defender in that regard.
And the reason I knew about this is I randomly played this on a stream one night. And so when it came up, I couldn't remember the name of it, but I remembered the game. And I remember on the stream flying around and thinking to myself, well, heck, this seems pretty good. We need to put this on the list. And so I was real happy to see it come up once I figured out what it was. You're right about the explosions. The ships will take more than one hit, and so you'll only see those explosions 2 or 3 times. It's it's really cool. And like I said, the different ships fly at a different rate, so you have to sort of change your tactics, and especially ones that are dropping other stuff, that you have to change your tactics. It's just I think, we've put a lot of these Defender clones, 2 and 3D, but I think this is probably the best one certainly the most playable one I've ever played. In fact, I like this way more than I like Defender. I mean, about 1,000,000% more, because I just think it's more fun. I like it more than I like Amiga Wing Commander, because it's a game. It's a game you can play. You feel like you're driving in a spaceship, and you feel like this is something else I like about a boat. It feels like you're in a hot rod spaceship, because you can go from 0 to 100 in 2 seconds. Plus, you've got shields that don't suck. Like you can take some shots.
And again, that's the more games that we play, the more I'm convinced that at the end of the day, it all comes down to feel. You can have the best graphics in the world, you can have the best music. It's the games that feel right. It's the games that feel like you're doing what you're supposed to be doing that are the true winners, and this is one of those games.
And this proves to me that a game like this can be done on the Amiga. It can be done well. Now, was it done well? Sometimes, but I mean, this control scheme, where's this been all my life with these gauges and stuff? No one wants to let go of the joystick and fool around with the keyboard when they're playing a game like this. This game requires split-second timing because you're chasing guys all over the place, and so the scheme works great. I can't really gush enough about this one. This one really, I mean, I'd played it on the stream, but I'd not really gotten into it. So this week I had a time to sit down. And I mean, I was getting into like level 8, 9, 10. I was improving. And this game really steps it up about level 4 or 5. Then it starts getting down and funky. And when you've got a bunch of those skull things floating around, you've got problems. And those things, because they just come right at you. I mean, you could run into any ship, but those will come after you, and but that's cool because that's, you know, and they look cool. You know, like I said, this was a great one. I was pleased as punch with this one, Boatster.
Me too.
Did we get any Discord action on this one?
We did. We got one Discord review for Alianator, and this one comes from Pajako6502 again. He says, again, not for me. However, I was really impressed by the speed of the 3D being achieved on the Amiga. I was running this in an emulator, but it claimed to be running an Amiga 500, so wow. It's a very playable 3D Defender type game, and for a PD game, I probably would have played the heck out of this when I was a kid. The controls, however, were a little tricky to get hang of. Moving the mouse up and down for speed, and then left-right shooting with the left button was not easy. I think I would have preferred to control speed with the keys. Technically impressive, but a little samey. 6 out of 10.
I'm going to disagree with that. I will say I did get some reviews myself. The people in Lemon give it an 8. Lemon, the site, actually reviewed this game. That shows me that because those guys, they know what they're doing. They gave it a 7, and Amiga Joker, of course, crapped all over to give it a 52. I don't know what they were smoking that day. And this came out of Germany. You think they would have given it some love. Listen, this is one of those games that you don't know about, and you may not have played it. So if you're listening to this show, and you're like, these guys, what are they talking about? Go and give this a whirl. This is a hidden gem, Boat. And
this is a game. We've played so many commercially released games that couldn't hold a candle.
Oh, this would fit right in.
Why this guy didn't take this to Psygnosis or some publisher and say, look at this.
Yeah.
Because he would have got signed right then and there.
I mean, you mentioned it. We talked. There are some things they could have done to make this like some really kicking music would have been awesome.
Right. But I mean, that's the thing. When you take it to a publisher and you get a little bit of money in your pocket, you know, you're incentivized to add a couple extra things.
And really, you could have taken this. Could have been a level in a game with this being the engine, the Defender clone part. You could have done anything with this engine. I mean, it's smooth as silk. To think to a guy that made this and didn't get paid.
Yeah,
you know, it's a tragedy. So thumbs way up for this. Again, if you're looking for the magazine it was in, this would have been Amiga Fun.
And we should say he did get paid. Amiga Fun paid him.
Well, you know
to
what
put this in the magazine.
I mean,
but yeah,
like
he didn't make big bucks. He wasn't buying a Lambo. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's right. So that's a big winner. But I was pleased as punch over that. So we'll take that one to the house here, Boat. That was the best. That's got to be the best public domania we've ever had, Boat.
I agree 100%.
Since Alien Fishfinger and Area 51 or whatever, those older ones. But that was great.
Yeah, that was also a great week. All right, Aaron, why don't we leave public domania and see what's going on over on the old YouTube channel?
Righto. So we've got a few offerings this time out, Boatster. We'll start with myself and the Brent, as we want to do. And this time out, Boat, me and the Brent were tasked with playing Olympic games that were based on the Olympics. This time around, we did choose pretty much vastly different games. I went to a little-known title, at least I'd never heard of it, called Olympic Gold for the Sega Master System. Had you played this, Boat? You're a Sega Master System guy.
No, but I wanted to after hearing it. It's funny that you mentioned that this version got much better scores than the Mega Drive version.
That's right. Yeah, it got much. In fact, people said it looked and played better. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know who dropped the ball on that. This is from U.S. Gold, by the way.
Brent, you got to have that shot in an Olympics game.
Yeah.
In an Olympics
game.
We
get it. Yeah, you got to have it. So Brent went in an entirely different direction. I looked for a game that was basically a game built on the Donkey Kong hardware. It was a chip swap, and it was called Herbie at the Olympics. Or also known as Hunchback Olympics, which that's the name I had heard of. This game was done, think about this for a second, this was ROM swaps on a Donkey Kong PCB.
That's wacky.
Yeah, it is. And they did have these. And this game is pretty wacky. This game's ultra hard. It didn't do it for me, but I appreciate the stupidity and goofiness of it. But Brent sells it. He sells it hard. And I will say his research into the people that made it is very interesting. CVS, they have a checkered past of wackery. They should have been a Coco producer because they're in that realm of insanity and clonery. So if you're into that sort of thing, check us out. I do want to plug early. We'll be recording as you hear this on Sunday, and we're going to be doing a very unique show this week, and the wheel piece that came up was games that deserve to die. So if that intrigues you at all, check us out every Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a good time on Twitter, or Twitch, I should say. Now, Boat, tell the people what we got up to on the Coco show this time around.
Well, Aaron, it was time to hit the track and play some Pit Stop 2. So, Pit Stop 2, widely ported to many systems, but the Coco port I found, despite its sort of lack of color off the track, the cars are very intricately designed, and it's sort of exclusive to the Coco version and, of course, the Apple II version. So I had some fun with this one. This is of course got the wacky pit stop mini game where you're controlling your tire man and your fuel guy. But yeah, I thought this was a good one.
Yeah, we had a good time with this one. We don't get to cover Coco games that are featured on other systems very often. So it was neat that we could actually compare and contrast with the Atari version, which was fun. I like Pit Stop in terms of the graphics system. I think it's just a very dull game. That's my biggest gripe with it. But the Pit Stop part's kind of fun. Don't overfill that gas tank, Boat.
Yeah, even when you play with a buddy, the tracks are just way too long.
Yeah, I will say you can play with a buddy. Yeah. My favorite part of the show, Boat, was our opening talk on where you go to use the bathroom during long car rides. That was my favorite part of the show, Boat. So there you go. If you're interested in seeing Pit Stop 2 or hearing stories about using the bathroom, this is the show for you.
Sounds good. Sounds
stuff.
Good. All right, Aaron. Next up, what do we got?
Listen, here's one that we literally threw together off the cuff, Boat. Right here it is. Bam. And we're going to dovetails into something else we'll talk about. This is myself and the Brent having a discussion about the A500 Mini, the Amiga Mini.
Right.
And this is mostly Brent and his. And one thing I like to do is ask Brent about that, is because
that's some pretty convincing green screen Brent's got there.
Yeah, it looks like his hat's on fire. That's what I think. That's what I like about it. The whole show, I kept looking over there. I'm like, run! Throw your hat down. But it was a very interesting. It gives you a perspective of someone that's doesn't have 2 feet in the Amiga community. So it was,
which is good.
Yeah, it was interesting. Very interesting talk. And I want to mention, because one thing we did, and we don't want to skip over this, is myself and you. We did a whole show on the Amiga Mini, the A500 Mini boats. This has been a very well-received show, I might add. One of our biggest shows for a while, actually. And we just go over our thoughts. Do we think it's a good idea? What do we think of the games? What do we think of the people behind it? Do we foresee a Amiga Maxi in the future, or A500 Maxi? Now, all these questions will be revealed. If you are interested in our opinions on that, check out the video A500 Mini, the modern Amiga you've always wanted, ? So there you go. But we had a lot of fun on that one too, didn't we, Bo?
We did.
Now, I had to catch this on the flip side because I missed the stream. But this is our good buddy, the Flaxter, Jack Flack, playing 2 games that we both love, Boat. It's Mr. Do and Dig Dug on the C64. He also starts this. He's been starting his shows off with like a demo. This demo was awesome. It was an Atari love letter made with the C64. And they actually took the old Atari boxes and did sort of hand drew them. And
that's
you can see
so
one
cool.
Right there. Isn't that
that's
neat?
So cool.
They do all these. They look great.
When you sell 40 million Commodore 64s or whatever they sold, and they're distributed all over the world, they're going to fall into the hands of some really talented people, and that's what's happened here.
I mean, yeah. So, look at that.
Yeah.
I don't know if there was a scanner involved. I don't know what was going on, but man, it was awesome. So then we get into the Flaxter covering some Mr. Do action. We love Mr. Do, and I also love Dig Dug. He also covers that. Mr. Do looks a lot better than Dig Dug, by the way. And then he has to go on the arcade version. So good stuff. Flax always brings the entertaining. Now, tell everyone the revelation that you guys had this week over Mr. Do.
Yeah, so I had no idea that every level of Mr. Do after the first one is the tunnel that is pre-cut for you in these levels actually is the letter or the number of the level. So there's a big number 2.
That's astounding that you never noticed
it's
that.
astounding that I never noticed that, because I've played approximately 1.2 zillion games of Mr. Do in my life.
It's stunning to me that you did not know that. I just baffles me. But there you go. So last but certainly not least, Frodo, our good buddy Frodo and L, and both this is right up your Allerini here, my friend. The first years of the Atari video computer system, aka the VCS, aka the Atari 2600. We've talked about it. It's funny how many times this has come up on this show alone. The granddaddy of all video games, the Atari VCS. And right out of the gate, I see Air Sea Battle here, which I've played that quite a bit. It wasn't my favorite, but I played it a lot. It's funny, we were talking on Pixelgate, and they were asking about games that were better at home than in the arcade, and I brought up a couple of 2600 titles, which were Asteroids and Space Invaders, both of which were way better on the VCS because the VCS allowed you to have multiple game types with their game selection switch, which was awesome.
Yeah.
It's funny, having just played Alianator, and here we are looking at a 3D-ish Atari 2600 game, where you sort of like a Star Raiders looking type deal here. But do you remember? Have you ever played this? I'm not sure what that is.
I have no idea what that game is. So.
We've both played oodles of 2600.
Now, I have played a lot of that. That's a street racer.
Yeah. I see Breakout on here. I see a lot of the old classics, and of course this is the first year, so you're gonna there's
Home
baseball.
Run. Yeah.
Not the best.
No.
Not the best. But listen, Frodo is smooth as silk. Always, I love just the way he structures stuff. Always a good time. He is the streamer that streams the most, probably of anyone that we know. So check him out. Make sure you check out his channel on Twitch and check out his videos here on our channel. They're always good stuff. Boat, what did you and Neil get up to this week?
This week we talked all about the Amiga 500 Mini. You can imagine that, right? So the episode that's going to be released tomorrow is all about. We talked about, actually, it was a very Amiga heavy episode. We aside from Mario Kart controversy with the. Somebody apparently didn't follow the rules and dropped a whole bunch of records without showing people what he was doing along the way and checking in. Yeah. And the speedrunning community was not a fan of that. But
they're very strict.
They are.
They're
very,
very strict.
But we talk about the A500 Mini. We talk about the new Kung Fu that's coming out, Kung Fu Master that's coming out for the Amiga, the McGeezer port, which is pretty exciting. And, of course, we talk about Super Delivery Boy, which may be one of the first great platformers on the Amiga ever. So I'm super excited about this game. It's currently in development. So that is coming out. By the time you listen to this episode, unless you're watching it live, that will be out and ready for you to listen to over on the This Week in Retro YouTube channel or through the podcatcher of your choice.
I will say, I listened to the episode you released 6 days ago where you mentioned Zool. That was straight up. I knew you were licking your chops to bury poor Zool, Bode.
I was, and I did.
You did. That non-ant got a full burial there. Have you, just to ask, this has been released, this Zool thing. Is this one you're going to pick up?
I almost put this in the news this week because it had just come out, and I know that I have not played it yet, but our own Roshi has played it, and he gave it sort of a semi-positive review. What they've done essentially, I guess, is just sort of made the screen bigger, so you can see more about what Zool's getting into. And
like
I'm sure
HD
that they
version.
Yeah, it's an HD version.
They did the same thing with Super Frogs many years ago. There's an HD version.
Yeah, the same sort of HD thing. So anyway, I haven't played it yet, so I'm going to reserve judgment. But it's out there. You can check it out. We might talk more about it next week on the news.
Let's talk about one more thing real quick off this. I hate to bring up your other show, but I'm going to. Neil has announced that he's got an upcoming hardware release. I think we touched on it a couple weeks ago. But this is a Mister add-on that you literally put your Mister in. It sort of adds all the stuff that you're getting all those different cards would add in a interesting shape, sort of console-y looking shape. I believe he said it was like a PC Engine, and it also adds a SCART connector. What do you think of this, Boat?
Yeah, so this is essentially something for people that want one box that does everything. So you get everything all in one, and there's a custom board that's running underneath the DE10 Nano that's allowing you to have all of this stuff. So Dave Velociraptor is the world's biggest fan of this. He is the Mr. Multisystem sycophant du jour. So you can check him out if you want nothing but positive vibes from it. I think that one of these may be winging its way to me in the next round, and I will surely give my thoughts on it.
That's lucky, because you were too stubborn and cheap to buy any additional boards for yours.
That's right. I will be the perfect person to A/B test this thing, because my Mister is the Mister.
It's as
and
naked
it's pretty
as
awesome.
a day. You got it.
Yeah.
I love it, Boat. Boat, my friend, that is all we've got from the front of YouTube.
Well, let's talk about last week's Patreon song challenge, Aaron.
Okay.
So, we did a little Zeppelin last week. That's right. We got the lead out on Rock 105.
Yeah. Trust me, I wanted to put the lead in you with a gun.
So, The Ocean was the name of the song. And Rob O'Hara, #1 with a bullet. Daniel Crabtree, Da Crabs MTG got it. And Pac Billy. So congratulations to all three of you guys. Well done. If you know this week's Patreon song, send me an email at john@amigospodcast.com, and I will announce you as the winner on next week's show.
Don't say anything in the chat, for God's sake.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for reminding me. And we also want to welcome new supporter, Wanderly Kessim.
What's that name again, Boat?
Yes. So, here we go. Wanderly, Chessim, Mark Richardson, David Hearn, Chris Edwards, Ram OK, David Terrace, Jude Carlos, Matthew Mobius, The Phantom Magnus, Seth Yates, Alistair Fiend, Christian Russell, David Z, George Rosansky, The Amiga Show, Daniel Crabtree, Super Family King, Crazy Loomis, William Victor Star, Heavy Systems, Bundy, Frag Lord, Mark Myland, Olaf Hope, Hermsky, Jonah, a.k.a. Simulant, Alien Breeder, Dave Velociraptor, Calvert Boy, Lane Denson, Luke Hudson, John Cook, Bomb the Bass, Frodo, and El Soul Incisor, Tech Mage, Jurgen, Mysticola, Bernard Lucas, Jerry Dennington, Sorglub, Reflection, Simon Ledge, Captain Crispy, Kilobytes, and Caffeine, Gary, Heather, Free Lunch, Kate Fox, David Pickford, Cameron Armstrong, Andy Joseph, Terminator, 10-minute Amiga, Retrocast, Bernard Quinn, RMC, Tim Drew, Simon Rose, Joseph Harrison, Kyle Eder, Rob O'Hara, Matthew Laramore, Andy Craig, Sean Solbarg, Bill Roland Burke, Andrew Monks, Joe the Zombie, Leaf Gallant, Alan Kebab, Chakotay Level Lord, John Marshall, Matthew Perrone, Ricky DeRocha, Creepy Deadboard, Fakey CTZ, The Slow Norris, Stefan Sorgard, Morton Sedvin, Helen Lind, Christopher Hassel, Ravi Abbott, Chris Foles, Jorin Giroux, Graham Debke, Adam Battersby, O'Brien's Retro and Vintage, Gary Huck, Paul Harrington, Duncan Styles, Tapes from the Crib, Josh Knight, Adam Bradley, Jonas Rule, THT, Eric Nelson, Kim, Tommy, Homerstad, Daniel Bingston, Brutal Barracuda, Derek Coles, Jason Wands, Pixels at Dawn, and Kjolbjorn Barman.
Kind of a low-key affair there, Boat.
I like to mellow it out sometimes.
That was horrible. It was almost like you just melodically sort of named off people. Was there a tune there?
That's sort of what I did. I melodically
Remind me
named
to
off.
get you the old bucket, Boat, so you can carry a tune. No, I couldn't. If anyone picks that song out, by God, they're a real educated ear.
Well, guess what? Oh, I thought somebody just rang out. It was freaking Curtis talking about the Joust transcode. Listen. All right, Aaron. It's time to talk about the other fine people that make Amigos happen. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay. So we've got our Twitch subscribers. Okay. Our Twitch subscribers watch us day in, day out on Twitch every week. And well, sometimes they do, unless they're busy or they've got something going on. But Aaron, we want to thank them in our own special way by reading their names. I guess it's not really much of a special way. Macintosh Librarian, Mitsuyama, Blow, Jellyfish, Eeyore4077, Da, Krabs, MTG, Beach Bum 7, Scumboy, Orom, Dragonbane, OZ, Mazames, Made by Legends, Wing Chun Wolf, Dave Velociraptor, Buck Owen, Still Adolescing, Frodo NL, Alley Cat, History Chick 1558, Blue Train, Math Dufort, Back to 8-Bit with Hermsky, Wide World of Retro, Paco Take, Retro Jerry, L. Curtis Boyle, All Hail, Negsol, Rob O'Hara, Explorer, Texas Foosballer, Dead Louse 75, Captain Chaos DK, Uber Scuba Diver, Mr. Toast 6502, Demo Scene TV, Brock 101, HSEI Ken, Tin Foil, Happy Coding ZX, Gary Heather, Jigglebox, CoronosNet, Peeplo, and Ami Staff. Thank you all so much for subscribing to Twitch.
You know, before you continue,
yes,
I got to acknowledge Happy Coding ZX, who referred to you as the human bagpipe. That is never truer words have never been spoken.
That's very kind of you.
No,
I appreciate that.
That was apropos.
All right. So, and finally, of course, Aaron, next week we are going to be talking about Epic. Epic. That's the name of the game.
Okay, sounds good. I love epic stuff.
Well, this is a pick by Paul Bossman Harrington.
I like it, man. Sounds good to me. Hey, we got some epic contests running right now, too, don't we? On the Discord, as we speak.
We do. Thank you so much for reminding me of that.
Did you see that transition right there?
I love the transition. It rules. So, we're going to be doing something a little bit different on the old Spectrum High Score Challenge. And a new one is going to be announced on Sunday when we announce our new game for our Sinclair. Frodo has run into some heavy work times. And so Paul, a.k.a. Hermsky, has taken over. And we are going to announce that new Specky High Score Challenge next week. We do recognize all of the fine folks who took part in our Pajama Rama contest. Z9K9, 100%, Hermsky, 98%, and Mitsuyama, 91%. You guys did much better at Pajama Rama than I did. And on our Amigos side, we are having the action is hot and heavy on the old Bomb Jack Beer Edition, Aaron. We have several entries. This is a very well-regarded game. Right now, guess what? Z9K9 is in first place, but Pajako 6502 is closing in quickly with a score of 746,000. So you never know what's going to happen. This thing is going to close here in a couple weeks. So if you're a fan of Bomb Jack Beer Edition, then tune into the Discord and put your name up there on the scoreboard.
Very good.
All right. Now, before we say goodbye, Aaron, we do want to recognize everybody that is watching us live right now. Because, listen, it's Friday night. There could be other things to do, almost anything. But there are people that take time out of their busy day to listen to us, and we appreciate them. So Duncan Styles, Pixels at Dawn, we have to acknowledge them. There are content moderators. Anytime anybody tries to play any portion of a Prince song in the chat, they lock them out forever.
Does that happen?
That's what they do. That's and we've got a bunch of people watching us this evening. We got 2020s here, Amiga Live, Atten, Barkbit, Beachbum 7, Bitstorm, Brock 101, Buck Owens, Chris Green Live, Cobrian, Commander Root, Da Krabs MTG, Dave Velociraptor, Dedicated Lurking 9 to 5, Edvin Helen, Frodo NL, Jigglebox, Happy Coding ZX, HSEI Ken, John Marshall 3, Kasserin, Lamakia, L Curtis B, Mikea 3000, Mitsuyama, Mr. Cola, Oil of Hope, Paul Kitching, Picard 2010, R-Typer, RetroRewind.ca, Remastino, Skjorbjorn. Also, we haven't seen old Skjorbjorn recently. Steven Spielberg is here, joined us again this week.
Thank you.
Super Tech Boy, the man Rayan, the Mend Rayan, VNK,
like
Wide World of Retro, Worlds of Rogue, and Kyoko Kodo.
Very good.
So, Aaron, you are going to be streaming this evening, right?
That's true. I've got a couple announcements. I probably should have put this in the news.
Okay, man.
Just a heads up for people that are going to participate, start getting it ready. We have tentatively determined that the next epic gathering of the International Computer Club will be Saturday, September 18th, Boat. Saturday, September 18th. We'll probably try to start that about 6 p.m., Boat. For our European friends. So
yeah, not too late.
This is tentative. We'll slam the sucker down. We'll nail it down in a week or so. But tentatively, we are looking at September 18th.
And so for people that aren't sure about what the ICC is, since it's been a couple months, can you briefly explain what it entails?
Well, during this unfortunate time with the pandemic, a lot of computer clubs have not been able to gather, including ours. It's funny, we got that one in. I'm glad we did. And so we thought it might be kind of fun to have our own computer club made up of all of our buddies, or just people that want to show up. Literally, there are no requirements to show up for the International Computer Club. You can just come into Twitch and watch, or you could participate, show what you're working on. And we've seen all kinds of interesting things. Everything from front ends and 3D printing from our good buddy David Z to a sort of a revolving screen that was like a movie poster thing from Jack Flack. We've seen stuff on the Coco from our good buddy L. Curtis Boyle.
Yeah, and sometimes people just come in and talk about what they're into. I always enjoy hearing from Mitsuyama, getting in there and talking about what he's up to. Graham Bebke, all
Pixels
the updates
with his books, all that stuff.
Pixels, he seen the book collection from Pix.
And
all
also,
that stuff is
remember
great.
when Kit joined us at his elaborate chateau?
Oh,
always
my gosh.
nice.
Yeah.
Edwin's always in his place. So we always anything goes. We usually run about 3 hours if we're lucky. So again, if you're interested, we'll usually put a sign-up sheet up, and it'll be up in the next couple, probably over the weekend. We'll put one up so we can start getting sign-ups. But again, this is your early warning, September 18th, just a little over a month away for International Computer Club. Also, Boat mentioned it tonight. I'll be once again going at it on the Amigo Air and Friday Night Disaster stream. Tonight, I've chosen to play games on the PlayStation 1, the original PSX, that were games from the Amiga, sort of like sequels from the Amiga. And there's some pretty nutty ones there. And then we're also going to play some of those wacky PSX arcade upgraded versions. I've picked out a couple of those, like Galaga and Frogger. We're going to try those. So that should be fun. And then while we're on it, Bo, we might as well just go ahead and empty the vault here. We've got TSI, TeamSpeak Regulars, tomorrow as this flies at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Every Saturday Eastern Time, 7:30, you'll find TeamSpeak Regulars on Twitch at their new Twitch channel, the TeamSpeak Regulars.
But if you were already following the TeamSpeak Regulars previous channel, you don't have to redo anything. They just changed
the name.
Yeah.
Myself and my brother will be on every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for ARG Presents. And then tell them what they get Sunday afternoon, Bode.
Sunday afternoon is going to be a podcast Lollapalooza. We are going to have the Red Hot Chili Peppers, the Smashing Pumpkins. We're not going to have those guys. It's really not going to be like
Addiction might be there. The whole 9 yards.
We're going to do 3 or 4 podcasts. I think 4 of them. We're going to kick things off with the Our Sinclair, where we're going to talk about Pajama-Rama. It's not just for Roxy Music anymore. We are going to talk about the Atari 8-bit computer system. We're going to cover the Star Wars Return of the Jedi Death Star battle. Should be a fun game to talk about. And then we're going to travel over to Coco Land. That's right, the Coco Show. And we are going to be doing mud pies. So you can check out all 3 of those shows. And then we're going to close things out with our monthly edition of Ask the Amigos, where we take all of our Discord's burning questions and answer them live on air.
It's going to be something. I think that's all we got this weekend, Boat. Let's take it to the house.
All right. Well, we hope you will join us next week for Epic. And until then, adios.